in his second summit with the North Korean leader. The U.S. was hoping for more concrete steps from Pyongyang towards a deal that is verifiable and enforceable. Only time will tell now whether the future holds more of this.
Rocket Man is on a suicide mission for himself.
Or this.
I'd much rather do it right than do it fast.
So, yes, Trump did walk away from what could have been a bad deal. And no, he didn't give up anything, as many thought he did after the last summit when he suddenly canceled joint military exercises with South Korea. But that is a very low bar for something positive to come out of this. But at least the president says that both sides will keep on talking. And he says North Korea has promised not to conduct any more missile or nuclear tests. Allison.
Okay, Michelle, thank you very much for setting the table for us, no pun intended. Joining us now from Vietnam, we have Jim Sciutto, CNN Chief National Security Correspondent. And Jim, what I'm referring to is because the table was set for the luncheon and because reporters were waiting for the signing ceremony, clearly, at least on the U.S. side, something went wrong. I mean, the fact that they ended this abruptly, and I'm just wondering if you can give us the backstory of how it unraveled.
Well, the president made clear that the deciding issue here was that North Korea insisted on the lifting of all U.S. economic sanctions on North Korea in exchange for giving up just one nuclear facility of many there. And that was not good enough for the U.S. And listen, we are now we've entered a spin zone here. The president said he walked away, but it was a friendly walk away from the table. You have the South Koreans, you'll probably hear from North Korea soon. You have China all saying, well, the talks were constructive. We look forward to the next opportunity. But the fact is the president flew across the planet to the other side of the world for a second time in less than a year to meet face-to-face with the North Korean leader of all sanctions. And the U.S. is still demanding the complete denuclearization of North Korea, which North Korea is not offering. The question then remains, how do they get closer, bring those two positions closer? And for the president, who put a lot on the line here, put his, touted his personal relationship as definitive, this is a second time he's walked away without that personal relationship bearing fruit in these important negotiations. Well, and it's hard to see that as anything but a setback for this president.
I mean, in terms of your question of how to bring these two closer, we may have the answer for you. This is just crossing now. Our reporting is that President Donald Trump has just asked South Korean President Moon Jae-in to play a role in mediating dialogue between Kim Jong-un and him. This was during a 25-minute phone call. So he's asked him to intervene. That's interesting. I mean, I think that's very interesting because obviously President Trump, who prides himself on having such a warm relationship with Kim Jong-un and being a deal maker, is saying that he needs some help from South Korea's president.
He is. But let's be frank here. I mean, South Korea would have to be part of any agreement between the North and the U.S. And it's been something of a question mark as to why South Korea was not more involved. I mean, you had South Korea releasing a statement after the collapse of these talks saying that they were perplexed. They clearly had not been kept abreast of things. And a similar result at the last summit in Singapore when the president summarily suspended U.S.-South Korea military exercises, apparently without consulting South Korea. So now, perhaps somewhat belatedly, bringing South Korea into a more central role here should have already been the case, you can argue, but it also shows a president who might be acknowledging that he needs help, that the personal relationship, the art of the deal, not enough to get the two sides close and to get to the U.S. to where it wants to be.
Jim, I just want to touch on what Michelle Kaczynski reported, and that is the Otto Warmbier episode where President Trump was asked if he confronted Kim Jong-un, and he said that he believes that Kim Jong-un didn't know anything about what happened to Otto Warmbier, where he was killed, obviously, or at least into a vegetative state, in custody. And I'm just wondering if that's plausible.
Listen, an American kid, a 20-something, was taken hostage by North Korea, sent home brain dead, where he soon after died. North Korea is a serial abuser of human rights. It kills dissidents at home and abroad in numerous ways. And for a U.S. president, with the death of an American, a young American, to not hold the North Korean leader accountable is remarkable. And remember, this is not the first time this president has done that. Today, he said he takes Kim's word, takes him at his word that he's not responsible. He said in Helsinki that he takes Vladimir Putin's word that Russia did not interfere in the election, despite U.S. intelligence assessments, the opposite of that. With the brutal murder of Jamal Khashoggi, the journalist, the president, again, over the assessment of the U.S. intelligence community, in effect said he takes MBS's word. This is a pattern with this president. It's a disturbing pattern with this president that has received both Democratic and Republican outrage, and it was truly a remarkable moment today to watch.
Jim Sciutto, thank you very much for all of the reporting from Hanoi for us.
Thank you.
All right, the other big news this morning, the reverberations from this claim. Donald Trump was involved with crimes while being president of the United States. So if you missed the dramatic 7 hours of testimony from Michael Cohen yesterday, first of all, shame on you. Secondly, that was the major takeaway. Cohen says the president was involved in crimes, including while in office. Also, Cohen said there are investigations going on we may not even know about.
Is there any other wrongdoing or illegal act that you are aware of regarding Donald Trump that we haven't yet discussed today?
Yes, and again, those are part of the investigation that's currently being looked at by the Southern District of New York.
All right, joining us, Nia Malika Henderson, CNN senior political reporter, David Gregory, our senior political analyst, Emily Hodig, a former federal prosecutor, and Jeffrey Toobin, chief legal analyst. And Jeffrey, I don't want to lose sight of the big picture here. Michael Cohen said that Donald Trump has committed crimes while president of the United States.
And he had corroboration. I mean, that, I think, yes, there we go. I mean, the check. And, you know, we're going to have to decide as a country whether that matters or not. I mean, I doubt the polls will shift. But, you know, Michael Cohen pleaded guilty to a campaign finance violation, a criminal campaign finance violation involving the payments to Stormy Daniels. And he said, I did it entirely at the instigation of Donald Trump. I kept him posted every step of the way, and he paid me back. There is one of the 11 checks he said he got. One of the other checks was signed by Alan Weisselberg, the CFO of the Trump Organization, and Donald Trump Jr. There is plenty of ground to continue this investigation, notably by asking Weisselberg and Donald Trump Jr. about this whole affair. But, you know, and of course, what's so significant about this check is that it's dated August 2017, when Donald Trump is president. That's now out there in the world, and the country's going to have to decide whether it cares or not, whether he should be prosecuted or not. And, you know, I think that's a very big deal.
David Gregory, you're
어젯밤 부산 앞바다 상공에서 거대한 빛기둥이 떠있는 듯한 현상이 나타났습니다. 10여 개의 빛기둥이 밤하늘을 밝혔다가 곧 사라져 시민들의 관심을 모았습니다. 이두원 기자입니다.
부산 5-6도 앞바다, 하늘에 은빛의 빛기둥이 관측됩니다. 은은한 느낌의 이 빛은 아래에 보이는 등대의 불빛과는 다소 차이가 있습니다. 어제 저녁 7시 반부터 부산 상공에 불빛 12개가 기둥 형상으로 떠있는 듯한 현상이 나타났습니다. 이 불빛은 부산 4구 감천항에서부터 해운대에 이르는 해안 지역에서 관측됐습니다.
목사님이 본 장소를 좀 지정해 주셨어요. 제가 여기서 봤는데 제가 원래 본 장소는 저 집. 있었던 자리를 한번 재현해 보기로 하겠습니다.
하늘의